The words, "Effective next month, your rent will be $6,800, hung in the air like a guillotine blade. My sister Olivia's perfectly manicured finger tapped the new lease agreement as she slid it across Grandma's antique coffee table toward me. The family gathering froze, 15 relatives suddenly motionless in the lavender-scented living room of Grandma's house, where we'd gathered for our monthly family business meeting. A tradition we maintained even after her passing 2 years ago. My lungs seized. The amount represented triple what I'd been paying, a sentence disguised as a business decision. I watched Olivia's lips curl into that familiar smile, the one she'd perfected at Harvard Law, the one that said she was simply being practical while doing something cruel. The same smile she'd worn when she told me my college choice was adorable. The same smile she had when she explained to our cousins that my career was just property management, like I was playing with dollhouses instead of analyzing real estate markets. The room's temperature seemed to plummet as relatives shifted in their seats. No one spoke. No one defended me. Just the tick-tick-tick of Grandma's mantel clock marking the seconds of my public humiliation. My name is Morgan. I'm 32 and a property management specialist. This is the story of how I reclaimed my family's respect after years of calculated belittlement. Growing up as Olivia's younger sister meant living with constant comparison. She was the golden child. Harvard Law, summa cum laude, making partner at 35 at a prestigious firm. I attended State University, earned my property management degree, and became an assistant manager at a mid-sized firm. Every family gathering followed the same script. Olivia just closed a $10 million merger, Uncle Nate would announce. Then, inevitably, Aunt Rebecca would turn to me with that sympathetic head tilt. "And Morgan, you're still at that property thing?" For 5 years, I'd rented a 2-bedroom in Riverside Drive, one of Grandma's buildings that Olivia managed pro bono as she reminded us at every opportunity. She'd set my rent at $2,200, calling it a family discount, though market rate was only $2,400. Still, she never let me forget her generosity. "Most people in your salary range couldn't afford this neighborhood," she'd say with that patronizing smile. I paid on time every month, even when the dishwasher remained broken for months, even during the winter when the heating failed. I never complained because complaining meant confirming I was the lesser sister, the one who should be grateful for scraps. But 3 years ago, everything changed in a way Olivia never suspected. When Grandma was still alive, I helped organize her finances every Sunday. She was sharp even in her 80s, but she trusted me to explain her investment statements and organize her records. One evening, she pressed a business card into my palm. "Your sister means well," she whispered, her paper-thin skin warm against mine. "But she doesn't see everything. Sometimes the quiet ones are the smartest. Remember that when the time comes." I didn't understand then, but 6 months after her passing, her personal lawyer, Mr. Bennett, not the family attorney Olivia used, contacted me. Grandma had left something for me outside the main estate, a private inheritance of $200,000, enough for a strategic investment that would change everything. Now, in Grandma's living room, Olivia stood tall, pen extended toward me, legal pad filled with graphs and market comparisons. "Your current rent is $2,200, far below market," she announced, clicking through color-printed charts that she'd prepared for this ambush. "Comparable units are going for at least $6,800. I've been subsidizing your lifestyle for 5 years. That's $240,000 out of my pocket." Aunt Rebecca gasped like Olivia had donated a kidney. "Olivia, you're such a saint." My sister's smile widened, the kind that demanded applause. "I don't want praise. I just want fairness." She turned to me, voice hardening. "Morgan, you're 32 now. It's time to learn to stand on your own feet. Effective next month, your rent will be $6,800. The silence was suffocating. 15 faces watched, waiting for someone, anyone, to defend me. No one did. Not after 5 years of paying on time, not after helping Grandma with her books while Olivia was too busy. Nothing. She extended the lease across the table. "I'll need this signed today." I stared at the paper, then at my phone where a text sent 20 minutes earlier had already received a response. On my way. Documents ready. I had arranged for Mr. Lucas to arrive at 8 p.m., knowing Olivia would make her move during tonight's meeting. Through my position at the property management firm, I had learned about the Columbia Law students' applications from a colleague who managed nearby buildings, which gave me the perfect timing to spring my own revelation. Olivia mistook my silence for surrender. "Let me make this educational for everyone," she said, pulling up Zillow listings. "Here's what Morgan's apartment should cost. $7,200, $7,500, $8,100. I'm actually giving her a discount at $6,800. My phone buzzed, 15 minutes out. Uncle Nate cleared his throat. "Olivia, that's quite a jump." "It's market rate." She cut him off. "Successful people pay market rate. Morgan works in property management. She should understand this better than anyone." Laughter rippled across the room. My cousin Dylan smirked. "Guess you'll need 3 roommates." Every word dug deeper, every smirk another reminder of the role they thought I would never escape. Mediocre, dependent, failing. Olivia leaned closer, her voice dripping with condescension. "Sign the lease, Morgan, or start packing. I've already got 3 applications from Columbia Law students. They're offering $7,000. The threat hung heavy in the air, and I almost smiled because Olivia didn't know the truth. She didn't know that the building she thought she controlled, the one she used to lord over me, was mine. 3 years ago, with Grandma's gift of $200,000, my savings of $50,000, and a business loan secured through contacts at my firm, I'd purchased the building through a holding company named Riverside Holdings, LLC. I had used Grandma's personal lawyer, Mr. Bennett, to structure the purchase so that all records would show only the company name, not mine. I maintained my job at the property management firm while quietly managing my own building on the side, ensuring that all renovations and paperwork were processed through third parties that Olivia never interacted with. Every legal paper, every renovation, every rent check flowed through me, and today, with the whole family watching, she was about to find out. I held the lease, tracing the bold numbers with my finger. $6,800, as if studying some cruel joke written in ink. My heart thudded once, hard, but my face revealed nothing. Years of being underestimated had trained me well in the art of stillness. Olivia smirked, mistaking my silence for defeat. "Good. You're finally learning to listen. Sign, and this will all be behind us." The weight of her arrogance filled the room. My mother shifted in her chair but said nothing. My father stared at his hands. No one stood for me, not one person. Yet I didn't feel small anymore. I felt steady. I placed the pen down. "No." The word was soft, but it cut sharper than a knife. Heads turned. Aunt Rebecca gasped. Olivia froze, her smile faltering for the first time all evening. "What do you mean, no?" she demanded, voice rising with indignation. I said slowly, meeting her gaze. "You don't have the authority to raise my rent." Her eyes narrowed. "Excuse me?" The doorbell rang. Perfect timing. My pulse quickened, not with fear, but with the thrill of what was about to unfold. Olivia huffed. Who could that be? I stood, walking calmly to the door. When I opened it, a man in a charcoal suit stepped in, leather briefcase in hand. "Good evening, Ms. Reynolds," he said formally, following our rehearsed plan. I ushered him into the living room where the family was gathered. He nodded to me, then addressed the room with practiced professionalism. "Good evening. I'm Mr. Lucas, representing Riverside Holdings, LLC. I have documents for the tenants of this building." The air shifted, confusion rippled across the room. Olivia frowned. "Tenants? What is this? I manage this property." Mr. Lucas adjusted his glasses. "Not anymore. Riverside Holdings purchased this building 3 years ago. I'm here tonight on behalf of the owner." Olivia's face drained of color. "That's impossible. I would have known." I stepped forward, voice steady but loud enough for every single relative to hear. You didn't know because you never bothered to ask. You were too busy lecturing me about how to stand on my own feet, too busy humiliating me at every opportunity. But while you were climbing your ladder, I was building my foundation. Whispers erupted. Cousin Dylan muttered, "Wait, what?" My mother's eyes widened. Olivia turned to me, fury breaking through her shock. "You're lying!" Mr. Lucas opened his briefcase and placed a thick stack of documents on the coffee table, title deeds, tax receipts, renovation permits, all signed by me. "Morgan Reynolds," he said clearly, "is the sole owner of this building." The room went silent. Even the ticking clock seemed to pause. Olivia stumbled backward, her face ashen, her composure crumbling. "No, this can't be." I looked her straight in the eye. "You tried to triple my rent on a building that doesn't even belong to you. You tried to evict me from my own property, and you did it in front of everyone thinking you'd embarrass me. But tonight you embarrassed yourself." The silence shattered with a dozen reactions. Aunt Rebecca whispered, "Oh my God." My father cleared his throat, shifting uncomfortably. My mother's lips parted like she wanted to speak, but no words came. Olivia shook her head violently. "This isn't fair. You tricked me. You quote." "No, Olivia." I cut in, my voice firmer now. "I didn't trick you. I just stopped letting you trick me." She opened her mouth, but no sound emerged. The power she had wielded so casually, so cruelly, had slipped from her fingers in an instant. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the overlooked sister. I wasn't the underachiever, the charity case, the one who needed handouts. I was the one holding the deed. And as Olivia's face turned pale in front of 15 stunned relatives, I felt the weight of years of humiliation lift off me like smoke, clearing after a fire. Olivia's mouth opened and closed like she was drowning in air, desperate for something to grasp. The relatives who once nodded along with her lectures now shifted in their seats, suddenly uncomfortable with their silence, their complicity. No one rushed to defend her. No one dared. "You can't do this," she stammered finally, her voice trembling in a way I'd never heard before. "You can't just take everything from me." I tilted my head, calm in a way that only comes after years of swallowing pain. "I didn't take anything from you, Olivia. You never had it to begin with." Her face twisted. "But Grandma left me in charge. She trusted me." "She trusted you to manage, not to own," I replied. "She trusted me with something bigger, and while you were busy performing for everyone, I was listening to her." Mr. Lucas cleared his throat politely, adjusting his papers. "If I may," he said, glancing around the room. "Ms. Morgan Reynolds has been the legal owner since the purchase 3 years ago. Every tenant in this building pays rent directly to her holding company, including, technically." He paused, his eyes flicking toward Olivia. "Your unit." The gasp that erupted from the room was sharp, almost theatrical. My sister staggered back as though struck. "My unit?" she repeated, horrified. I folded my arms, the years of humiliation sharpening my words into steel. "Yes, Olivia. You raised my rent in a building where you're the tenant. Do you understand now?" Aunt Rebecca whispered. "Oh, my heavens." While Uncle Nate muttered something about karma, Cousin Dylan, for once, kept his smirk to himself. Olivia's composure cracked entirely. "This isn't possible. I won't pay you a cent. You'll pay or you'll leave." I cut her off, my voice steady but firm. "The same choice you so gleefully gave me." She looked around the room for support, but none came. My parents sat frozen. My mother's hand gripped her wine glass so tightly I thought it might shatter. My father's jaw worked as though he wanted to speak, but no words came. For the first time, they couldn't shield her. I leaned closer, lowering my voice so only she could hear, though I knew the entire room was listening. "You thought you could crush me. You thought you could humiliate me. But here's the truth, Olivia. While you were busy trying to climb above me, I was already standing higher than you knew." Her lips trembled. "You're cruel." No, I whispered back. I'm finally done being your victim. The words settled over the room like a gavel striking. Final, unquestionable. Mr. Lucas closed his briefcase with a snap. That concludes my business for tonight. Good evening. He shook my hand, nodded to the stunned audience, and left. The silence that followed was deafening. Olivia collapsed back into her chair, her once perfect posture broken, her eyes glassy. I turned, walking to the door, the weight of 15 years of belittlement finally sliding off my shoulders. I didn't need applause. I didn't need their approval. The look on my sister's pale face, the silence of those who once joined in her laughter was enough. As I stepped outside onto the sidewalk in front of the building, leaving the stunned silence behind me, I realized something profound. Revenge hadn't been my plan. Survival had. But sometimes survival becomes its own form of justice. The night air was cool against my skin, carrying the faint smell of rain that hadn't yet fallen. I stood on the sidewalk looking up at the windows of the building that was mine, the building where my sister had tried to turn me into a tenant she could crush under her heel. For the first time, I didn't feel small when I looked at it. I felt steady, rooted, powerful inside. Voices were still murmuring inside. I imagined the relatives shifting uncomfortably in their chairs, replaying the moment when Olivia's mask had cracked, when her smugness had turned to shock. I imagined them whispering in kitchens tomorrow, telling their friends, "We never knew Morgan had it in her." And that was fine. Let them talk. For once, the story wouldn't be about how Olivia saved me. It would be about how I saved myself. Over the next few weeks, as I continued managing my building while maintaining my position at the property management firm, the fallout came fast. Olivia avoided me at first, retreating into silence. But then the calls started, pleading ones at odd hours, her voice trembling in ways that were once unthinkable. "Can we work something out?" she begged one night. "You can't really expect me to pay rent to you. I'm your sister." I almost laughed. Sister? The same sister who spent years using that word as a weapon, reminding me I was the lesser one, the weaker one. Now you say it like a shield, fragile and thin. "You raised my rent to $6,800 without blinking," I reminded her calmly. "Why should I treat you differently?" Her silence on the line was answer enough. Then came my parents. My mother called, her voice brittle and cold. "You've humiliated your sister. Do you know what you've done to this family's reputation?" I let her words hang in the air before answering. "Do you know what you did to me? All those years you stood by while she belittled me, while she treated me like a burden instead of blood. You didn't care about reputation then. You cared about appearances. And now the appearance is simply the truth." She hung up on me, but I didn't cry. I didn't crumble the way I would have years ago. Instead, I leaned into the rhythm of my new life. I managed my tenants with care. I reinvested, upgraded the building, painted the halls in warm colors that reminded me of Grandma's touch. And when neighbors stopped me to thank me for fixing things Olivia had neglected, I felt pride swell in my chest. One evening, as I was locking up the lobby, I saw Olivia standing on the sidewalk, arms crossed, face pale under the streetlight. She didn't speak at first, just looked at me like she was searching for the sister who used to shrink when she raised her voice. Finally, she whispered, "You've changed." I met her gaze without flinching. "No, Olivia. I've just stopped letting you control the story." She blinked as though the words pierced her deeper than anger ever could. She opened her mouth to argue, to fight, but nothing came out. She turned and walked away, her heels clicking against the pavement, fading into the night. I stood there for a long moment, breathing in the quiet. For the first time in years, I felt free, not just from her, but from the weight of needing her approval. My life was mine now, built brick by brick, deed by deed, choice by choice. And that freedom was worth more than any revenge. It was justice, and it was mine. 2 months after the revelation, Olivia moved out of the building and into a downtown condo. Our relationship remained strained, with only occasional text messages on holidays. My parents eventually came around, my father calling first to apologize for his silence over the years. My mother took longer, but 6 months later invited me to lunch, where she admitted her favoritism had been wrong. The extended family now treats me with a newfound respect at our gatherings, which we still hold monthly, though in a different venue, the community room of my building. As for my career, I still maintain my position at the property management firm, where I've since been promoted to senior manager, applying the lessons I've learned from both my formal education and my hands-on experience with my own building. Some of my colleagues now consult with me on investment strategies, and I'm considering expanding my portfolio with a second property next year. If this story touched you, I hope you take this with you. You are not defined by the voices that underestimate you. You are not bound to the roles others force on you. Sometimes the greatest power you'll ever claim is the courage to own your story and to stand tall in it, no matter who tries to cut you down. If you felt something in my journey, please like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more stories of resilience, betrayal, and quiet victories. And please leave your story in the comments. I'd love to know how you found your own strength. Before you go, here's a quick bonus for sticking around. If you love learning and growing like I do, you need to try audiobooks. I've got an exclusive deal with Audible. Your first month is completely free. That's access to over 500,000 titles, zero cost to you. All the details are waiting in the description. Don't miss this one.